Recorded. Hola, buenos días a todos los que están llegando. En un minuto o dos daremos paso al inicio de nuestra sesión del encuentro creativo de hoy martes. Entonces, 2 minutitos en lo que acaban de llegar. Gracias. Bienvenidos todos a la sesión de encuentro creativo. Comenzamos en 1 minuto o 2 en lo que acaban de llegar. Un momentito, por favor. Muy buenos días, bienvenidos hoy a nuestra sesión del encuentro creativo. Hoy es la segunda semana, segundo día, y vamos a estar comenzando con una plática de Fabio Pelagalli, que nos va a estar hablando del User Experience a través del diseño de interfaces y todo lo que sería el diseño para lo que ahora pensamos en el diseño digital, etc. Les recuerdo que Polimoda es la oportunidad de poder tener contacto con todas las escuelas de posgrado que tienen una oferta en Italia para estudiantes mexicanos que ya hayan pasado por licenciatura, como son Polimoda, Polidesign, RUFA, Rome University of Fine Arts, la Università IULM, el Instituto Marangoni, NABA, la Nuova Accademia de Belle Arti, Domus Academy Milano y el Instituto Europeo del Diseño, el IED. Entonces, todas estas escuelas están pues ofreciendo las oportunidades que hay en ello y pues nosotros tenemos que ver en estas pláticas a dónde pueden ir. Entonces vamos a comenzar, si eso les parece bien, con un mensaje de Luigi De Chiara, embajador de Italia en México.
Soy Luigi De Chiara, embajador de Italia en México. Soy muy feliz de presentar Encuentro Creativo, una producción de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México con la Embajada de Italia. En México hay un potencial de talento creativo que me parece no logra salir de sus fronteras con la presentación de la oferta formativa de estas instituciones académicas en el campo de las industrias creativas italianas. Queremos ofrecer no solo la posibilidad de mejorarse de un punto de vista técnico, sino también de saber dónde van las tendencias, cómo se ha construido el éxito del Made in Italy, sobre todo en el sector del estilo de vida.
Es un evento muy importante, Encuentro Creativo, porque da la oportunidad a los estudiantes mexicanos egresados de universidades o de institutos académicos de conocer la oferta educativa que hay para cursos de posgrado en el campo del diseño, de la moda y de las artes gráficas.
Así que durante estas 2 semanas de Encuentro Creativo van a poder encontrar tips y conocer acerca de las mejores universidades y institutos italianos. Van a poder conocer a embajadores, a ponentes que están trabajando en la industria, que son también académicos de estas universidades. La finalidad es que disfruten de Italia, que conozcan Italia a través de estos webinars y seminarios y que se aventuren a vivir en Italia y vivir una experiencia llena de conocimiento, de sabiduría y de diseño y de moda. Espero que lo disfruten y muchísimas gracias.
Pues sean muy bienvenidos. Hoy tenemos con nosotros a Fabio Pelagalli. Él es profesor y coordinador de la maestría, nada menos ni nada más que NABA. Entonces, él estudió comunicación en la Universidad de Trieste. Precisamente hizo la maestría en diseño de entornos digitales en la propia NABA. Y desde 2010 trabaja en la escuela, primero como coordinador académico del área de comunicación y diseño gráfico, y ahora como líder del curso del máster académico en publicidad creativa. Ha sido profesor de arte de software y sistemas interactivos y design thinking a niveles académicos y está íntimamente convencido de la relación entre imaginación y creatividad como herramienta para crear el imaginario e interpretar la realidad. Y particularmente hoy nos va a hablar de UX, More Than a Handful of Buttons. Entonces, UX, más que un montón de botones. Y esto es una explicación de qué es la experiencia de usuario, cómo contribuye al bienestar del hombre. Y pues ya que estamos todo el día dentro de las pantallas picándole a todo, esa experiencia de usuario pues es fundamental para poder interactuar con las máquinas, con los sistemas, con las páginas y con la información. Thank you very much for being with us today, Fabio Pelagalli. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and please proceed with your presentation. Thank you.
Buenos días.
Sola cosa. Just one thing, excuse me. Las preguntas, por favor, las ponen en el chat y al final Fabio será tan amable de contestar. I told them about the questions. Sorry for interrupt. Thank you very much.
Buenos días. It's the only two words that I know in in your languages. I'm sorry, but so I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and also I want to. I'm very honored to be here in this lecture with you, with your, I suppose, young people from Mexico. And as the ambassador said, I know that a lot of good creativity is in the in Mexico, in your continent. And so I hope that this lecture can give you the opportunity to have trust in your creativity and to find a way to develop a better future for you, for your country, and for the world. So I'm happy to introduce you this lecture related to user experience. I'm going to share as soon as possible. The technology give me this this power, this presentation about the topic of today. Where is the button? Sorry again, because I tried before, but now it doesn't work. Okay, now it's okay. Okay, so can you see it? Can you confirm that you can see? Perfect. Okay. I suppose that sentence like can you see or can you hear me can become a right title for a success book in of communication in this period after a couple of years using these technologies to doing and to teach each other. Probably is the most common sentences that you usually use at the beginning of a meeting. But anyway, today we are going to talk about user experience and the concept, the fact that when we talk about user experience, we don't want to talk just about buttons. So this is because probably you have an understanding of user experience that is not completely new, that is not dedicated to the future. When we talk about user experience, most of the time with boomers, probably with people that maybe started their digital age a lot of years ago, probably they are thinking, if you're going to say maybe to your mother or to your parents the fact that you are going to become a user experience designer, probably they are going to think that you want to do web design, or you are going to enter in the internet world, doing something with buttons, with mouse, with link, etc., etc. Well, that was true until a couple of years ago, probably. But I think that the best things to understand one discipline is to start from the history of the discipline. So knowing the history of one argument like this is the best tool to define the theory and the practice about that discipline. So talking about user experience, of course, we needed to start talking about internet, because internet is something that it's the representative, it's the most representative idea about the digital world today. So if I am going to ask you what internet is, probably you are going to answer, well, let's do, you can do your questions at the end, but if I ask you now in this moment, what the internet is, what is your answer? So if you are, don't be shy. So if someone wants to answer me, maybe also you, Gustavo, if you want, what you think internet is in this moment, in your idea, in your mind, what will be your answer?
A representation of the world and an enter to that world.
Okay, that's
another person says, I think internet is a media of communication.
Okay, so it's good. You said something that I'm going to show that it's going to happen to internet. So that fact
an open
that
communication channel and a useful tool.
Okay, that's good also. All of these things are right definition about internet. I think the most interesting is the fact that you are saying the internet is the representation of the world. Is it true, these things? I think that is it true, but not yet. It's not yet the representation of the world. So starting from the beginning, we can say that internet was born, of course, I think that many of you probably know, but it's just to remind the fact that internet was born in the 1969, when for the first time 4 universities in the USA connected themselves with a computer. And so they create this first net called the ARPANET. We have also to say that it's a technology that is coming from the military services, but in any case, the first civil use of internet was ARPANET in the 1969. Then, after 1969, I was born in the 1974. That is also an important date for me, also maybe for you. I don't know. Maybe you can try to put your date of birth in another point of this timeline. We can say that from 1969 to 1976. Internet was just something related to scientists, so to the university, to the academic environment. But the first royal email from Europe to USA was sent by the Queen Elizabeth II in the 1976. Also, the 1976 is the date of the first Apple I computer. Okay, so let's go in. We don't have until now internet. Consider that in the 1985 we have the first version of Microsoft. And in the 1989, I did my first Red Ball with the basic code. So people started to, like little nerd like me, started to use a computer doing strange, funny things like this Red Ball. And also some years after, I was able to make this ball jumping on the screen. But the most important things to say is that Tim Berners-Lee invented, also developed better, the HTTP protocol in the 1991 in the CERN of Geneva, and give to the world the opportunity to use free this kind of protocol that also is the same protocol that we use today for internet. So you can see that from 1969 till 1991 we didn't use internet. And it's interesting that in the 1995, Nicolas Negroponte, this is a very important book that I consider, that I suggest you to read and to have, described the internet in a sort of way like this situation. So a sort of dance room where you have a lot of people. He said, try to imagine this situation where there are a lot of people dancing, like in this video, in a very ordinate way, so where everything and all the people is dancing very well. Okay, so try to imagine this situation when people learn to dance the night before. So probably you have a chaotic situation, not this situation like this. And he said the internet in the beginning of the 2000, so the new millennia, was like these things here. So, you know, this is the history of $1 million homepage. I don't know if you know about this story. This is the web page of one student that decided to sell every pixel of 100 pixel page. And so he sold all the pixel of this page for giving the people the opportunity to put a banner, a clickable, a linkable banner. So this image is representative about the image of internet in the 2005. So until 20 years ago, internet was something like this. And of course, now started to be something different. So what we say that www is a language, so it was service that people learned to use internet. So it's in some ways, when imagine a child start to speak. The same was for the use of internet. So we started to learn a language, and this is the result. But the fact is that internet is a global network based on standardized protocols which connect different networks around the world. So it's the core infrastructure, which is unique and globally shared. This is the technical definition about internet. And the most important thing is that today, when people talk about internet, they often talk about the services that people see and use. So like website and services like Facebook, Google, YouTube, Wikipedia, WhatsApp, PayPal, so are not the core internet, but rely on its nature, on the nature of internet to work. It means that when we refer to internet, we are not talking about the services that are activate and works thanks to internet. So when we are talking about internet, we are talking about an infrastructure. Okay, and this infrastructure is free, is open, is like Tim Berners-Lee developed. And the openness allowed to internet to evolve from this situation to this situation that it's more familiar probably to you today. This is just a little part of icons that you probably know, that you probably use, that is just a little part about internet, about the services and the experience that you can have thanks internet. And also this is the present, but also this is some idea about what internet can do and what thanks to internet is going to be developed in the next year. Even today, you know, about all the voice devices, all the things about interactive system like Arduino, that is an Italian platform to doing interaction, and the Apple Watch. So the glass, the new technological glass like Ray-Ban. I don't know if you know about the connected glass and the augmented and virtual reality. So Internet of Things, domotics, robotics, wearables, blockchain, smart cities, zero UI are just examples of what you can develop today thanks to internet. And all of things also are related to artificial intelligence and machine learning. So in just this few timeline, I tried to explain you the fact that when we are talking to user experience, we are talking, of course, more than a handful of buttons. It's not anymore the fact that user experience is not anymore the fact to represent the right button on a web page, or the right link, or the right position, or the right color. It's, of course, all of this, but there are many other things that are related to user experience, and it is important for you to know and to understand what you can develop thanks to this. Just to give you an examples of words that user experience that are connected to the concept of user experience. We are talking, when we talk about user experience, we talk about design, about interactions, micro animation, storytelling, words, data visualization, usefully contents, etc., and other words that you can add. So I'm telling this because if we are, this is my work, this is my job. I organize didactic and educational paths. So if I have to promote, for example, an educational path related to user experience, of course, I need to interact with all these different disciplines that are strictly connected to the importance and to the concept of user experience. All these words also give me the opportunity to make you understand that today user experience is just in the middle of in the cross of these three big areas. So the desirability, the technology, and the economy. These three macro areas of the society, of our culture, are strictly connected together, and the user experience is something that make all the project about design, about technology possible, make the opportunity to produce something. What I showed you before, all the new technologies related to internet, means that today you have new tools every year, every month. What the incredible acceleration that we had in the last few years demonstrate that we are just at the beginning of the development of internet and of the technologies. What does it mean, new tools every year, every month? It means that we necessarily have a constant updating of our knowledge of the systems, of the technologies, and of course of the languages about the new technologies. This is important because also the fact that as I showed you before, you understand that probably that from 1969 until to the beginning and to the first decade of the new millennium, okay, in that long period happened a lot of things, but you cannot imagine how many things that happened in just 10 years, in just 5 years, in the last 5 years, how many things the future is thinking, it's how many bigger the future will become in this in this area. So the first things to say is that this is all this technology, all this innovation is producing basically an important changement in the economical paradigm. We are going to develop, we are going to use probably new generation of young people. I can see your faces, so I suppose that all of you are Z generation, are new generation of people. So what's happening is the fact that you are entering in an experience economy paradigm. What is this experience economy? How this economy is different from the past? Well, here we have a classical customer relationship experience between the brand and the customer. So in the classical way, in the classical economical paradigm, this relation between the brand and customers is led by by the medias. So normally brand produce an integrated marketing communication to communicate with customer. And this integrated marketing communication means the capability to use different media and different languages. But in any case, only if you have a good and correct strategy, only if you have an omni-channel communication, you have the capacity to enter in contact with customers and to relate with them. Today, we have another different vision about this relation among brand and customers. It's not anymore only the media, but we have user experience, we have content, and we have product. Okay, so it means that brand enter in contact with customers using new opportunities and new relationship system that is related to basically to services. So it means that the product and services are not anymore two different things, are the main idea, the main concept in a brand strategy to enter in contact with customer. It's not something new. It's something that in the marketing, only the bigger entrepreneurs understood in the past, and they already applied. When we say today that Amazon, for example, the Amazon company has a good success because they have a good reputation and also they give a good service to the clients, I can also affirm, say that Jeff Bezos didn't invent anything of new. Why I'm saying this? Just look this video from Ferruccio Lamborghini. You know what is Lamborghini is? Probably all the world know this famous car brand from Italy, and the fact that it's a very luxury car. But just to give you an idea about the way of thinking of a good entrepreneur like Lamborghini.
È vero che quando una Lamborghini si ferma in qualunque parte del mondo arriva un aeroplano su una semplice telefonata con i pezzi di ricambio al meccanico?
No, non è che arrivi in aeroplano. Se ad esempio un cliente anche dall'Inghilterra, dove è, dalla Spagna, non dico dall'America, perché d'America siamo organizzatissimi, ci telefona che ha qualcosa, noi possiamo partire in giornata con un aereo di linea, un nostro meccanico con quello che c'è bisogno, e va là, glielo mette a posto e gli chiede scusa e poi ritorna e gli mandiamo anche una lettera chiedendo scusa.
Ma chissà quanto costa questo?
Beh, sì, costa, ma vede...
No, dico al cliente.
No, il cliente non costa neanche una lira, costa a noi, però vede, è un costo che rende. È un costo che rende in quanto il cliente che lei gli ha fatto un servizio di questo genere lo racconta a tutti, e raccontandolo a tutti diventa una pubblicità.
So you understood the importance of merging together services and product was a successful way of marketing in the 60s, but also more it appears more important today, where the client the customer is not only searching for a quality of the product, but is searching also to be to receive a sort of service using that product. So thinking about the user experience means give the opportunity to design your product and your idea and your service in a human-centered concept. Probably you already had another lecture with about design, about this concept of human-centered. It means that you have to study the psychology of your consumers. You have to understand how they act. It means that you need to develop empathy if you want to talk with your customers and with your clients. So when you have to design a good user experience, we are not just designing a nicely interface or a useful interface, but we are going to develop an idea of making the experience of that customers in a sort of way unique, and the fact that is centered on his necessities and needs. In this way, the idea is the fact that if we consider user experience not anymore just a web designer, but a builder of experience, it's easy to understand the fact that you are able now to design the future. Again, design the future is not something that is a sort of way easy to understand. So you can say, yes, it's easy to say the fact that you are designing a future, but try to consider this aspect that is related to the timeline that I showed you before. Before the browser like Netscape or Internet Explorer started to be developed and become used by people, and we are talking about 1994, okay, internet was something that doesn't exist for most of the people. It was hard to use. It was something that you needed to write, to type code to enter in internet. There were no pictures. You can imagine internet without pictures, so a website without pictures. So at the beginning, internet was without pictures, for example. And in the and it was totally ignored by the majority of the people. In the 1994, the Time magazine explained, and I'm reading something that I just found related to this story that is it's incredible. The Time magazine, one of the most known magazine in the world, said that the internet would never go mainstream. It was not designed for doing commerce, and it does not gracefully accommodate new arrivals. This is what Time magazine thought about internet. An astrophysicist and a network expert, Cliff Stoll, in Newsweek, that is another very famous magazine, said that online shopping and online communities were an unrealistic fantasy that betrayed common sense. Now, try to think in this moment what you have in your hand, what you have in front of your face, and try to imagine every time that you are going to Google to do research, etc., or you find an internet, or you find something that is amazing for you, and try to think about the fact that to be an entrepreneur at the beginning in the 90s. So you can say, oh, what I want to be in the 90s, I would like to came back in the story because I would like to create a new website. I would like to be the first to do an e-commerce. I would like to be a pioneer in internet. This is probably what people think, the majority of people think when they are acting with something new, and you wanted probably to be the first to develop a video storage services. But even if you could manage, what you are facing today is a sort of not trusting in yourself, because he said, okay, even if I have a good tiny innovation of a good idea, who would notice my idea among this abundance of websites and internet in this moment. So probably you are not motivated to continue with your idea. But, and here is the point, listen to me, internet is not yet completely developed. Internet is just beginning this developing. It means that we are at the beginning of the beginning. Try to think about what can happen in the next 30 years. I just assure you that if you think about a man of the future in the 2050, probably he will feel the same demotivation that you have in this moment. Because until now, for example, try to think about the search engine, the most famous search engine like Google. You are thinking now that probably thanks to Google, you can search everything on the internet. That's not true. You can just search what the website publish, but you cannot search, for example, inside Facebook. With Google, you cannot search inside the YouTube video. Tomorrow, in a couple of years, you probably will be able to search, to make a research inside a specific video. You can write a sentence, you can write a word and search that word inside a video, not inside a web page. It means that, and this is coming back to the first definition that I heard from Gustavo about the internet and a representation of the world, the fact is that the internet is going to become really bigger than the world. So the net, it's going to expand, the web it's going to expand to the dimension of the physical planet. But until now, we are just at the beginning of this development. So you are really lucky to become in this moment, to live in this moment. So you are not late. This is probably the best time ever in human history to begin. This is what Kevin Kelly from Wired is telling about the future. Just to give you an example, how many development the agency, how many opportunities the the user experience can give you. Try to think about WeTransfer. Now, when you are going to WeTransfer and you are waiting that your big file is going to be transferred from your email to another, until now, you wait, you turn your finger, and so. But now, for example, WeTransfer give you the opportunity to interact with the web page, with the page of WeTransfer, and you can, for example, spend your time having a better experience on the website. Another thing that the user experience can help you to do is to interact with your historical moment. And if you want to create a good experience, as I told you before, the first things that you have to do is being empathetic, and try to understand the real needs of your consumer or of your clients. Like in this video, for example, it's very interesting project of user experience, very actual.
COVID-19 has changed the way we interact with the world around us. Everyday routines, such as grocery shopping, have turned into risks of infection. Every hour, up to 30 customers might touch exactly the same button on a self-checkout till. This new interface moves the buttons around systematically. For each new customer, the buttons shift to a clean area that has not been touched by anyone else. The interface is designed to encourage minimal taps on the screen, concentrated in a customer-specific area. Up to 50 people can use the kiosk without touching the same spot as someone else. Once all areas of the screen have been touched, the screen notifies the supermarket staff that it needs to be cleaned before it can be used again. This simple invention could change the way we interact with self-checkouts, ticket machines, and ATMs to create cleaner and safer digital interactions.
So you saw how you can design a good experience using a button that is not really only a button, but is a solution to a problem that is not a graphic problem, but it's a social problem. It's something that is related a problem for the society. This is the big, powerful opportunity that user experience can give you and can act to you. Again, just coming back to this, to the importance of artificial intelligence and the connection that you can have between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and user experience. Try to understand this. Try to read this important notice. In this moment on the earth, we are 88 billion of people. We have 5 billion of people that using daily for mobile. We have 466 billion of users of internet and 420 billion users of social media. Can you spot how many opportunities you have inside this environment, inside this situation, where you are able to interact with them and to create systems that can make a better life for all of these people? As I told you before, we are at the beginning of the development of internet. Tomorrow, in a couple of years, even your table in your room will be connected to internet. When you are going to wash your clothes in a washing machine, your clothes will have some sort of tag, and this tag will communicate with your washing machine. So everything will be connected. And you can also use a Google research to find your clothes inside the washing machine. It's just a stupid example, but just to say how many opportunities you can spot in this specific moment of our history in the human being, and how many opportunities also the artificial intelligence is giving to a user experience designer to make it easier for human to interact with machines. Because what I'm going to end and to say, what you have to understand, the fact is that before to go into this, that the future is inevitable. So how many things you can think, how you can be, try to remember who in the 1994 said that internet it's impossible, that it was impossible to use e-commerce in internet, and try to think who is going to say today that it's impossible to develop an artificial intelligence. You will see in the next 20 years how many technological development you will have. And if you are able to work in the hidden part of the iceberg, if you are able to become a web designer, a UX designer, an interface designer, an experience designer, interaction designer, user experience lead, a digital director, a user researcher, an information architect, or a content strategist, and to work in this part, that is what is necessary to give to customers a good and real experience, probably you are in the right way to develop also your future. And so Negroponte, what said Negroponte said in the famous Being Digital book, probably what we are thinking about the book, probably in 30 years, we're going to think the same about Kevin Kelly and these other books that I suggest you to find and to read. And this means that the future, the user experience, is not just the capacity, again, to develop an HTML language that is important to know, but it means user experience that the future is at your fingertips, it is in your hands, and you have to touch your world around you, and if you need to create the opportunities for other people to touch in the digital world that will become exactly of the same dimension of the real world, probably you are going to understand what is user experience. I finish just to say that, of course, I'm the course leader of the MA in User Experience Design in NABA, and what I say is enjoy the ride of the future, because the future is now and you can be part of this fantastic adventure.
Thank you very much. De nuestro público, ahora sí, descuélguense con las preguntas, cualquier cosa que ustedes quieran mencionar. We have here one of the first things. Marjane Vargas Barajas is saying, this might sound a little conspiranoic, but do you think that the dystopia of the artificial intelligence getting better than the humanity and conquering the world is actually possible? If that's so, what would be like the user's experience after that? And do you think that should be done about it? What should be done about it?
This is the idea about the fact that artificial intelligence is better than the human intelligence. That is not true. This is the wrong way to consider and understand the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence create new artificial intelligence. It doesn't mean that we are going to develop a similar human mind or similar human intelligence. We are going to develop technological and digital systems that can help humans to live better in the world. It means the artificial intelligence will not substitute the human, but the humans will be able to use artificial intelligence to develop a better system, a better world, and probably a better life. So this is the right vision of artificial intelligence. It's not something that is going to substitute the human. This is for Hollywood movies, probably. The idea is to create systems that can help me to do better my work, to do better, to live better in this world, and also to give the opportunity to solve some of the problems, some of the mistakes that a human being did in this world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, certainly. And now Alejandro Vivian is asking, which are the best tools you know to practice UX design?
Which is, sorry? The best tools?
Which are the best tools you know to practice UX design?
Well, the first one, as I told you, is your body, is yourself. The best tools is to not to be yourself, but to be the others. So is to enter in empathy with the others, and this is the best tools that you can have to use to create, to think about user experience design. Then, of course, there are many tools, technical tools that you can use that are softwares. And as I told you, of course, there are many very contemporary softwares like, for example, Figma or Adobe XD. But as I told you, every 6 months there are new technologies and new languages, and so it's a continuous changement that you can use, that you can if you have the ability to understand this, probably it's more important. You can become the best user of Figma, okay? But in 6 months, probably it's not enough. So the best tools is to understand what does user experience means. That, as I told you, is not just to design interfaces. There are an interesting path that is the zero UI, for example, that is zero interface. It means that probably we are going to use less interface, physical interface tomorrow. We are going to have less screen around you, but we are going to have more objects connected with us. And just think about the Google device, Google Voice device, Siri, or Alexa from Amazon. Do they have physical interface? No, you just interact with them with your voice. So thinking about user experience means create the right environment where a human can interact with a machine, with a digital.
Yes, certainly. Majo Paez is congratulating you. One of the best talks in this series of webinars. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are sort of like 3 questions in the same way. So this question is, what do you do? You, because it says, how do you start with UX? Do you think UX can be applied in social projects? And in other, it says, exactly what's your expertise? What do you do? So this is strange because people want to know, what do you do?
What I do, no, well, normally my job is to be the course leader. I'm the director of this educational path for a course that is a MA, a Master of Arts. So it's a specialistic program in communication and user experience. Then in my past, I was a punker, and after I was a cyberpunker. And also at a certain point, this until the 2000. And in the 2000, in the new millennial, I read No Logo from Naomi Klein, and I changed my vision of the future. So I entered into the new millennial with this idea of communication. And today, I think that the new No Logo book is Shoshana Zuboff, that is the capitalism of the surveillance. So another book that I suggest you to read to understand the new paradigm, the new critics to the paradigm, to the economical paradigm, but this is another way. And another thing that it's changed my life was Arduino. At a certain point, I encountered Massimo Banzi, that was the founder of this project that is called Arduino, that is this microcontroller that is very easy to use and that can give you the opportunity to interact with the sensors around you in the environment. And then I started to develop my idea of interaction and my project about interactive systems. And actually now I also teach advertising and communication sciences.
All right, that's quite comprehensive. Let me ask you a question that I have in mind. Many of the people hearing today in these sessions are people coming from the, let's say, the traditional ways of the design. And so the traditional ways of the design maybe has to do with the development of products. But there is a change right now. Even here in Mexico, we are not particularly there because, for example, the people studying programmation and all those kind of things are still starting to be here. But one thing that maybe the designers do not have in mind is if a designer has to be into the UX design, or if you can go directly into programming and all the things about the user experience without being a designer, but much more being a programmer. So many people here in Mexico study design careers because it has no mathematics and they are not particularly keen in the logical process. So there is like a totally different ways of understanding it here. But how you develop there in Italy? How is possible to, at the end, starting to think in the user experience as a branch, as another way to solve the problems of design?
Well, it's very complex, long questions, but something that I can say about this is the fact that to be a designer is a state of mind. To be a designer means to find a way to solve problems, basically. And because if you think that you are, okay, it's not something that, oh, okay, I need to invent something brand new, something new, and so I have to find an idea. It's not that the way it works. So you can find an idea if you have a problem to solve. So first of all, you need to find the problem. You have to analyze your target. You need to analyze your society. You have to be a sort of observator. So you need to observe. Before to start everything, you need to develop your capacity of observation. And means a deeply observation of the others, of your people that you have around you. And after, when you develop this capacity of observation, you will be able also to understand the deeper problem, the deeper needs. And then you have the capacity of, this is called probably, in a way, it's called the design thinking. That is a sort of process that help designer to find the right solution and then define way. Then after this, when this step of mind, this process is clear, then you can try to find the tools that you need to solve. And of course, in this moment, the user experience is one of the most innovative way to produce innovation, to produce better way of life, to use all your capacity or your potential of observation in a right way dedicated to the future. Then also, of course, you can be a designer working with the wood, for example. Why not? If you are able to use a chainsaw or others, probably you are also a good designer. But again, the use of a hammer or the use of a software is just the tools. But before to use the tools, to be able to use that tools, so you can be able to have a good manuality. If you have a good handcrafting, you can be a good designer, even if you have a good coding. So if you are a programmer, you can be a good designer. But if you don't have an idea, if you don't have clear where you have to go, what you have to solve, what you want to do, it's not true. You probably be just an operator. And then probably in that way, an artificial intelligence will tell you what you have to do. If you're not able to use your intelligence, probably you will be a victim of the artificial intelligence.
Bravo. Well, it was absolutely interesting. Everybody is saying congratulations, Fabio. If that's all right with you, before we say goodbye, I have a testimony of a NABA student, a Mexican NABA student, and we're going to play it in order everybody see. So let's, if you can take out your presentation in order I can share my screen, that will be fine. And after that,
sorry,
we'll have,
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, vamos con esto, que son unas palabras de Ana Novales, egresada de NABA, una mexicana que ha pasado por ahí. Ahí estaba, Ana Novales. Eso.
Sí, estudié diseño gráfico y dirección de arte en NABA Milano. Hola, soy Ana Novales y estudié diseño gráfico y dirección de arte en NABA Milano. La verdad, la experiencia de estudiar en Italia fue muy agradable y muy enriquecedora. No solo conocí un nuevo país, un nuevo idioma, vi mi carrera desde un punto de vista diferente. Conocí mucha gente que me ayudó a tener diferentes maneras de resolver las cosas. También hice amistades que me han ayudado bastante y he crecido como persona y profesionalmente. Los proyectos que hacemos en NABA yo considero que son súper valiosos, ya que son proyectos reales y me han ayudado no solo a cumplir con lo que tenía académicamente, sino que también me han ayudado en mi carrera profesional y gracias a eso pues he podido trabajar con escuelas y muchas otras personas. De verdad es una experiencia que vale mucho la pena.
Thank you very much, Fabio. And now we will have the closing by Claudia Terova to say thank you to you and to all our sponsors. Claudia.
Okay, thank you, Gustavo, and thank you, Fabio. It was really interesting. Let me switch to Spanish in order to give the name of our sponsors. Bueno, pues muchas gracias a todos por habernos acompañado el día de hoy. Esperamos que hayan disfrutado esta primera sesión del día. Les recordamos que Encuentro Creativo es una iniciativa de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México en colaboración con la Embajada de Italia en México. Aprovecho también para agradecer a nuestros patrocinadores, Fénix, patrocinador de esta primera edición de Encuentro Creativo, Seña, Yamamay, Scavolini, Alfapar, Ferrero, Amoretti Brothers, Vialetti, Campari, Ferrari México, San Pellegrino, Capricho, Secretos del Vino, Riedel y Grupo Berlingo. Además, pues bueno, les recuerdo a todos los participantes que las sesiones están siendo grabadas, las estamos subiendo tanto en nuestro canal de YouTube, nos pueden buscar como Cámara de Comercio Italiana, o también en el sitio web de Encuentro Creativo. Hemos creado una sección exclusiva para estos videos. Pues les recuerdo también que estamos teniendo algunas becas, descuentos y pues muchos beneficios para todos los que participen al 50% de las actividades de Encuentro Creativo. Entonces, pues igual nosotros estamos mandando un formulario de Google para que ustedes hagan su registro y poder justificar la asistencia del 50% y puedan disfrutar de estos grandes beneficios que las universidades les están ofreciendo. Muchas gracias a todos por acompañarnos y nos vemos en la siguiente sesión, que es en 1 hora. Gracias.
Mil gracias, Fabio. Arrivederci. Gracias.
Arrivederci.
Gracias, a presto, arrivederci, ciao.
Adiós, bye.